Good morning, friends. Welcome to GoOnlineTrainings.com. So today let us understand some more tasks of the control flow in SSIS, and that is very important task and script task. So it's used to perform complex operations with C .NET or VB.NET languages. Okay. So now, when you take SSIS, okay, so SSIS will have lots of code you can write. One is that SQL code you should be able to perform. So at least 90% of the code you should be able to write in this language. Okay, but remaining some percent of the code you have to use say .NET or .NET languages or C# .NET or VB languages you have to use. So this is the what you have to do it. For example, where we have to use .NET. This is a scripting language. I'm talking about a high level language support. So many companies will need only the SQL programming, so only few, a few cases and few projects will need so some kind of a .NET expertise also. But if you don't know .NET, what's going to happen is that you will have a .NET team in your company. They'll hire somebody from the .NET team, and this task is given to them, and they'll be able to finish the task and hand over the task. That is one thing people would do it. But if you know .NET, you should be able to write. But so let us understand, if very important, then people would use. So in most of the time, you would be doing the tasks in SQL only. But so let me show you some kind of a need where .NET is important. And I will also show you in couple of demos how can we perform some kind of a simple task with the help of .NET code, even though you don't know .NET code at all, .NET at all. So let us understand where we have to use or how we can use scripting tasks. So the purpose is access data by using other technologies that are not supported by built-in connection types. Okay, and identify whether specified files empty or not, or how many rows they contain. Identify whether given folder has files or not. Identify whether the file has received today or not. Something like that you should be able to perform. For example, when we go here and I have a set of activities, now the customer is saying I'll take one folder here. So for example, I have a folder called US folder. Now in this, I wanted to check are there files or not. If there is no file, I need not run the data flow task, because data flow task has to go to this file and get the data from here. So before loading the data, I wanted to ensure whether this file contains or this folder contains some data or not, so some files are not. I wanted to validate that. So that purpose, normally we may use access the data by using specified files are empty or not. So one more thing you can have. So let me show you. I have some built-in connections here. So when I go to the data flow, I have some connections. So I can use ADO, CDC, Excel, flat file, ODBC, OLEDB, raw file, and XML. So these are the sources I can have. So ADO means you can connect to any kind of a ADO.NET drivers. And change data capture is for the perform incremental loading, and Excel source for the Excel data, and flat file, things like that. But I already told you I wanted to load the data from different files. Okay, I wanted to load the data from different files. And for example, the data the customer is giving in the PDF file. When the customer is giving data in the PDF file, the PDF is not supported in this. Okay, so I don't have PDF connection, so that I'll not be able to get the data. Or I may have some kind of a data which is available in JPEG file, or I may have the data in Windows Word application. So Word document, if somebody is giving Word document some data, so I wanted to open the file and get the data from the Word document. So if these are not supported by the built-in source connection types, but the client is giving the data in these files. Now, so if this is the case, then you have to go in for the scripting language. So access the data by using other technologies that are not supported by built-in connection types. So we have raw file, flat file. But how do I connect to MS Word document? How do I connect to a PDF document? Okay. And the second thing, identify whether specified files are empty or not, or how many, or identify whether the given folder has files or not. The first example I have quoted, I go to this and I wanted to verify whether this is having files or not. For example, it doesn't have any file, it is empty. It's supposed to get the data from the FTP server and the data is supposed to come here. But from this, I have to take the data and load it to SQL Server. But the folder itself is empty now. So how do you check that? So that checking, the validation has to be done with the help of this. Or I wanted to verify I got a file, but whether that file has data or not. So let me quickly go here and place one file there. So let me create one file and place some file, say employee file. But when you see the file is having 0 KB size. When it is 0 KB size, definitely it is not at all having any data. So I wanted to verify not only the file, if the file is there, I wanted to verify whether it has data or not. If it is having data, then there is no issue for me. And if it is not having data, definitely I have an issue there. So all these things I wanted to verify there. So all these validations you should be able to perform with the uh, with the help of the script task only. So this is what you have to be able to understand. So when you give the data, the size is now 1 KB. Now, let me also get some more data and let me place some files here. So I have one more employee file and go here. So let me put this as a customer data, something like this. And let me place one more file here, employee file. Now, when you see the date of the modified file, so this is the fresh file, okay, and it is created today, and this is a 1 day old file. Sometimes what customer says is that take only identify whether the file has received today or not. If the modified date is today's date, and go to only that file and get the data and dump it to the destination server. So I have many files are there, but out of which this file is received today and this file is received yesterday, I should not touching this. Okay. So these kind of validations, or if you wanted to maintain any other complex operations, then that is where you have to use scripting task. Clear? So now scripting, you may use C#.NET code, or you may use, any other .NET code we can understand. So these are the few scenarios where, we can just code. So one is that whether folder has empty or not, whether there is a file in the folder, whether the file is, belongs to today's file or yesterday's file or any older file, or identify whether the file is having data or not. And whether if somebody gives you a file, other than the built-in connection data types, and that is when you have to use the C#.NET or VB.NET. So let us do a demo on this. Let me quickly go here and take the project. Okay, go here, and I have taken already one thing and rename this, say demo number. We have so 8 completed, right? So this is on some scripting task. Okay, so I'm planning to do some scripting task. So go to the control flow item. So here I'm going to use very simple, how to use scripting task. When next demos we're going to perform complex demos there. Okay, so let me go here and drag and drop script task. So I have to be in control flow and go here, drag and drop this, and this is what is script task, and double click on this. And here, script language, we are using C#.NET. If you wanted to use, VB.NET, you have to choose here. Fine. So we have to choose C#.NET, or when you wanted to choose VB.NET, you have to choose here. So let me come back and choose C#.NET and entry point. So main is the function where it's going to start the execution there. And if you wanted to pass some variables, read only variables, just you go here and you can select some variables and you should be able to pass them there. And if you wanted to pass some read and write variables, and again you have to just go here and choose some variables if you have, and these are read only and read and write variables. Now If you wanted to write some kind of a code here, so you have to click on edit script. So in this, I wanted to show you how to use, scripting tasks. So, but not very complex operations. So complex operations, complex demos, I'm going to perform once we deal with, variables and all. So when you come down here, so you can see lots of libraries are there. So any language will have libraries, and if you wanted to have any new library, so this is where you have to have a new library here. So and when you come down, and this is where you have to write your code, and here it's clearly saying add your code here. So I wanted to print something and show you. So in .NET, for the printing purpose, we have a message box dot, there is a show button, and open the bracket, close the bracket, and you have to put semicolon, and you have to put double quotes here. So hi, guys, welcome to MSBA. So this is what I wanted to print, and don't delete. So these are very, very important. So only the code you have to write here and simply save this. And important thing is that you have to go to build and click on this build st blah blah blah. So click on this. So automatically build started and build succeeded. Can you see this here? So this is what you have to get the dialog. So once it is over, you have to just go here and build it. So if it is build succeeded, that's fine. Simply close this and click on OK. So when you click on OK, the task is ready. So normally using SSIS, you should not print anything because SSIS is a background process to load the data. So printing and all not at all recommended, but only I wanted to show you the very simple demo using script task. Later, we'll perform some of the validations. Okay, we have said in the PPT, right? The purpose. For example, the file is having today's data or not. All of them we can perform later. So with a simple scripting language, you need not worry about whether we have to let .NET or not. Very simple coding we should be able to write. So start debugging. Click on this. Okay. So I guess welcome to MSP. Sometimes we can use this task if you wanted to troubleshoot something. For example, you may create some kind of a variables, and the variables are getting proper data or not. You wanted to print and see. So in the troubleshooting purpose, debugging purpose, sometimes you may use, and that way also, right? So this is what is script, simple scripting task. And when you double click on this, and when you click on edit script, so this is where you should be able to, write the scripting and everything. Once you write the scripting, simply go here, build, and close this, and click on OK. Now you have to save and start debugging. That's it. So this is what is the simple script task. Now, let me go to some more tasks here. One is that it is used to send mail task using SMTP server, that is send mail task. And if you wanted to send any mail to anybody, so simply you have to go here and drag and drop send mail task. So after this task, I wanted to send a mail to the customer. So double click on this, and we have to configure for the SMTP connection here. So you have to go to the new connection. I don't have a proper SMTP server, or you can give some address. I'm giving a dummy address here. It is not going to work. And this is the SMTP server name. You have to save. And then the from class, you have to give the from address. So Bhaskar at the rate say gmail.com. And here you have to give say John at the rate some say abc.com, and comma I can say some, Ravi at the rate say abc.com. Like that, you should be able to give the email addresses, and the subject is the package ran successfully, something like this. You can also give some dynamic messages and all of them. And if you wanted to have any attachment, just go there and give the attachment. And if you wanted to have a log file, and take the log file and attach it, so simply click on OK. You can write lots of expressions to make it very complex. The body and all, you can make it very complex by providing lots of expressions here. Okay, so this is what you should be able to do it, and you have to start. Okay, once the above task is done, and it is going to work on this, but the problem is that I don't have the SMTP server specified, it may give you some kind of a error messages now because it's going to try now. So when you go to the progress bar, you will know what it is doing. Okay, so it is saying something is either missing, blah blah blah, or it is not valid. So it's saying that it is doing some kind of a validation. Let me stop this. Okay, so when you go here, okay, so something is John at the rate ABC, it's so open, right? So there's no problem at all. So, but it's giving you some kind of an error, and more than that, it is giving you some kind of a, the connection itself is not able to establish because the connection when you see here, and this is a dummy connection, so it will not be able to work. So forget about it. But this is how you should be able to configure. But if somebody asks, I wanted to configure for the, I wanted to send an SMS, so definitely you can have your own application that you should be able to call with the help of execute the process task. So you can develop a Android application, and the Android application you should be able to call with the help of this process task so that you can send SMSs. Or I wanted to send WhatsApp messages to everybody. You can develop the Android applications, right? And call using this, right? And we have next task is that web service task. So what is the web service task? It's used to call web services method. So for example, what is a web service? Let us understand first. So I'm writing a C program or a .NET program. Some program I'm writing. So .NET program I'm writing and go here and doing some kind of a .NET program. So I have written a function F1 here. Okay. So, and somebody else also writing some .NET program, and they have also writing some program, but they wanted to call the function one which I have created. So if I create a function one here, and definitely I should be able to call this function in my program. I can say call function one. So in my program, I am creating, I am calling, I'm using. So there is no issue. So this is .NET Developer 1. Dev 1 is doing this. But Dev 2 in their system, probably in somewhere different location. So he is also writing a program, but he wanted to call, my function which I have created and it is in my laptop. And this function F1 is not available in her or in his laptop. So it's not going to be permitted to call the function which is there in the other laptop. So what we have to do is, so I have to, give this function body to this guy so that this guy can, put this function inside his, the program, then he can call. So that is what I have to do. But the problem is that if 1,000 people need, and definitely this guy has to share the function to 1,000 people. So instead of sharing, what this guy is doing that this the function is uploading to the web. Okay, so he's putting in the website, and all the function F1 is available in the website. So now he's saying, if you wanted to use my function, for example, I wanted to know the weather forecasting system or weather temperatures I wanted to have for the temperatures and all. Why should I create my own system? So definitely somebody would have created that, and that is available in the website, and simply I go there and call. So when I go there and call, which is there in the website, and when you keep this function in the web, and this function is called as a web service. So if somebody asks you, what is a web service? Web service means a function or a method, a function or a method in the web. Web means website is called as web service. Okay, so the web service can be any, it may be created using a Java language or a .NET language, or some ABC language, XYZ language, so etc. So you may have any function that you can create in your own language and that you have to upload in the website. And we have to know where we have to go and which URL you have to go, and that's where this guy has to go and get this and download. So whenever he calls F1, so it's going to get the weather forecasting data. So I need not worry how the function is working. Simply I'm calling, the function will have the body and it is able to work just like that. So if you have this kind of a functions, and you should be able to call them. For example, I have a small function which is there in the web known as a web service. If I call the function is going to one table and getting lots of data from the table and dumping it to giving the data. So that data you can take from the function and dump it to say destination table. So this is what is called web service task we can use. And the next one is we can talking about XML tasks. Normally, what's going to happen is that you can have lots of XML data. So XML stands for extensible markup language. So when you have lots of code here, for example, uh, what is XML and why we have to use an XML? Let us understand first. So XML stands for extensible markup language. This is given by This is given by W3C. These are the guys who have created a HTML language, and so they have invented a language first HTML, and later they have invented XML language. So HTML language, hypertext markup language, this was the first language to render the data. So to render the data means I wanted to present the data. So that is where people are using HTML. Using HTML, people can create, HTML pages, and a collection of HTML pages are known as a website. So this is used to prepare or to create website. Okay. So if somebody asks you what is the purpose of website, for example, I am creating a website for my company. That means I wanted to share some data with you about my company, right? So in the home page, I'll say what is my company and where are we located and my phone numbers. So immediately, what is the purpose of this? I wanted to render the data. Render means display. So try to understand. I want to tell you my company name is this, my company address is this, my company is doing this, my company is manufacturing this, and these people are CEO and CFO director. So end of the day, HTML is there to create a website. If somebody asks why you are creating a website, because I wanted to introduce my company to the external world. So only the easiest thing is that you create a website and you should be able to dump the data or share the data to the external world. So HTML is not any proprietary language. So anybody can use that. But apart from HTML, if somebody says I wanted to create a Word document and I wanted to send it to everybody. So if you send the Word document to everybody, one is that it is not online, and the people who wanted to know about your company, if they receive the Word document from you, and they have to have MS Word installed in their system, then only they can see, they can open your document. So when you create any kind of a data in MS Word document or any other means, end of the day they have to have a appropriate language to open that. So when they create any kind of a HTML needs a browser, and every operating system will have a browser, so people can easily use browsers and do that. So HTML, and then afterwards people have created a language called XML. So this is I have the data I wanted to share. So you can neatly represent the data. You can make the data bold or italicized, or you can have bullets, or you can have a paragraph. So only however you are able to do in the MS Word document. So formatting of the data, formatting of the font. So however you are able to do, HTML will have lots of tags, and you should be able to do like that only. So the purpose of HTML stands for hypertext markup language. It is completely presenting the data to the end users without the end user installing any other new applications to open HTML pages. That is the purpose of HTML. Okay. So now XML, it is not for to render the data. I have data. For example, I'm writing a .NET program here. Try to understand. I'm using a .NET here, and somebody is writing a Java. You think about, we have a Citibank here. Citibank is using .NET code, and here I have some HDFC Bank. Okay, so I have two banks. In Citibank, they have used .NET, and in the HDFC Bank, they have used Java. But when the Citibank customer can go to any ATM, so they can go to any ATM. So if Citibank customer is going the ATM of Citibank, then there is no issue. But If the Citibank customer is going the ATM of Java, so this is where I'll have some issues because whenever I take my card and insert into this ATM and this service will have completely Java program. But whenever I insert the my card here automatically, the server is not able to read the card. Even though it is able to read the card, it cannot understand because my cards and my application is developed with the help of .NET. So when you have different applications in this world and everybody is using different languages, then that is where the issue is platform dependency or barrier. So for example, you know English, I know some other French. So English people cannot talk to French guys, or French guys cannot talk to English guys. There is a platform, a language barrier. So the same thing is happened here. So this server cannot understand Java, this server cannot understand Java. So that is when people have to have a common language. Okay, you know your own language, I'll know my own language, but we both of us have to learn a common language. The common language is XML language, so extensible markup language. Clear? So even though you know .NET, even though I know Java, that is fine, but both of them will learn XML language. Okay, that is the thing these guys have invented, and they set it to everybody in this world. So if you wanted to be part of the this IT industry in this world, every small application or big applications have to understand the XML because this is the common language everybody should know. .NET should know, Android should know, Java should know, Oracle should know, everybody, every small piece of the program also should understand because if Java is sending some kind of a communication here, communication is what? Sharing some data, right? If I'm saying, how are you? You're saying, I'm fine. So human beings are making a sound, but how the machines will give you in the form of data, right? So communication means supplying data or sending the data from one machine to another machine. So communication, so what's going to happen? The Java will know XML. So what it's going to do? So the ATM card, everything it is going to take and it will prepare one XML document. That XML document is going to send it to the .NET guy. So probably the XML document looks like this. What is the account number? So account number say 1234, and what is the type of the transaction is going to do? Cash deposit. And what is the amount you planning to withdraw? Say 10,000 or 1,000 bucks. So this data, this guy, Java application will make one XML document, and this data is sent via XML to the .NET. So .NET is receiving not Java code now. .NET is receiving XML code, and XML contains the data. Now, what does XML contain? Data. This kind of a data will be gone there, and .NET understand. Okay, so this is the guy who's going to do, take some cash deposit or cash withdrawal he's planning to do, and this guy will create one more document, say allow the transaction, or you can just granted, something like this. One communication goes from .NET to Java, then this Java application will give you some kind of a permission and it will disperse the cash and everything. So you should be able to make the transaction successful. Clear? So when this guy is sending granted and this guy is dispersing the the cash, and this guy says that I have completed the transaction, then automatically the .NET guy has to the make the clear balance in this application. For example, the customer is 1234 has having 20,000 bucks and has taken 10,000. So 20,000 minus 10,000 would happen in this. So the communication is happening today not because of the wires or not because of Java and .NET today. The communication is happening today with the help of XML. So what is XML? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. Okay, extensible markup language. Here people are going to use XML. So what does XML contains? That is the question. So what does XML contain? If somebody asks this question, you have to say data. So XML contains the data, but what is the purpose of XML? Why we have to use XML to remove the to remove the platform issues, or platform, say, barriers. So I wanted to remove the platform barriers or platform, issues. So .NET guy cannot understand Java, Java guy cannot understand .NET. So what is the purpose of XML means to remove the platform dependency issues that you wanted to remove so that everybody has to communicate with the XML only. For example, French, I know Russian, Russian language, or I know some other Urdu language, but you know English, I know English. The common language both of us is English so that you and me able to communicate. So, however, English is the common language. So, XML is a common language. So, what is XML? It is a language. Okay. But what does XML contains? XML contains a data. So, try to understand. So I have a data that I wanted to, send across the web. So, to remove the platform barriers, and I wanted to share the data across the, web from one application to another application. Okay, so this is what you should be able to understand. So the .NET application has to create a XML document. So how is the XML document looks like? So you have to have some kind of a root node here. For example, I wanted to say, so this is a transaction I'm talking about, right? Say it'll say customer. So this is open tag, and you have to create XML document in the a notepad. So you have to close this. So every XML document will have open tag and every Excel document will have a closing tag. Closing tag means you have to put like this. And these are completely case sensitive. That means what when you put a like this, and definitely this is not a valid tags. So every tag should have same case and every tag should have open tag and closing tag. Then later, let me say one more tag we may have here, say account number. So account number 1234, and this is how you have to put. And the type of the transaction this guy are doing, the type is cash withdrawal. So here you have to close the type also, the number also here. Here also we have to close type. Okay. And the transaction amount we can say the amount is trying to take some 10,000 bucks and go here and put like this. And this is how a transaction is, created, and this will be saved. So control S or file save as whatever you wanted to have. So let me go here and file save and go to my desktop. And here I have to make say customer transaction, something like that, and a dot XML. So while saving this document, you have to give extension as XML, and I'm saving in desktop, save this document and close this. Okay. So whenever you're making this kind of a transaction, when you go back here, I have a customer transaction which is there, and the XML documents will be parsed by the browser. So you should have a Chrome or you should have Internet Explorer or Firefox where you should be able to open this. When you double click on this, okay, so a browser should be able to open this document. So you will be able to see like this, but nothing else you can do. So only thing is that the XML only to share the data. So this is the data passed by the this one. So that's how the XML documents are validated and checked by the parsers. The parser is available as part of your browser. So this is how you can see the data. So if you wanted to modify tomorrow, just go here and click on edit. So here, now let me do some kind of a mistake here. Let me put some capital M and file save and close this. Now I go here and double click on this. Now it is saying and the tag amount does not match the starting tag. So who's validated the XML parser? Where is the XML parser located? It is located in the browser. Okay, so all the XML files will be, so there is a problem in this, it is showing you. So there is a parser available in this, Internet Explorer or in the Chrome. So you need not have specialized software to work with XML documents. So XML documents are case sensitive documents, and XML documents are used to render the data, sorry, to overcome the issues of the platform dependency. So this is how the documents are created. Now, this if you have this kind of a data, this data I wanted to read, I wanted to dump the data into a Excel. So when you have the data like this, so if I wanted to dump the data and in Excel, I would like to create account number column, then a type column, then I wanted to have amount column. So all the data from this, it would be going to the table. So we can get the data from XML documents and you should be able to work with the XML data. So this is what is the XML task we're talking about. Are you clear, guys? So these are the things we should be able to understand as of now. So have you understood what is the different task we should be able to understand? We will be working with XML also very soon and how to work with the XML documents, how to get the data in XML. And XML has lots of other, stuff also. We have how to read the XML files and how to, create an XML schema. All of them people should know if they're working completely in the XML document. But we are not completely working with the XML documents. If somebody gives us the XML document or the file, and from the file we should be able to dump the data and we should be able to keep the data into the databases or in the some other destinations. That is the purpose of the XML document. So are you clear? So these are the wide varieties of tasks we have.